Hi guys, this is the video where we'll be going through Python basics. When I started learning Python, nobody told me that it will be that simple. I went through many articles, I went through many notes, I went through many videos as well. But then I found a very simple way to learn it. Join me in this video where we'll be going through a basic part of Python. And let's join. I have Jupyter notebooks installed on my PC and we'll be starting from there. Please like and subscribe the video.
Hey guys, as we were discussing today, what we will be doing is we'll be learning how we can start with Python, of course, from the beginner level, which is a very basic level. So, as we were discussing, there are many ways through which you can learn a language. You can learn a language the bookish way, you can also go through many of the articles over the internet. And personally speaking, that when I learned it very casually. I went from articles, I went from YouTube videos, and even I went through some books as well. And then I realized that there is no compulsion when it comes to learning a programming language. And I started just like typing on the keyboard and starting coding on the run. So as the video suggests that we'll be covering the basic of Python, which is a very basic format, and then we'll be starting with variables, and then we would be moving forward with functions, and then we'll be covering if, and then we'll be going forward with a basic loop. We would not be covering these topics in brief, but we will try to go as much as we can when it comes to the basic level. So when it comes to declaring a variable in Python, you don't have to do it like you do in other languages. Like, you don't have to declare the variables. You can just simply type a equals to 12, and thus it makes the variable declared in the system. So what you have done is, if you want to print the value of a, you can write print, you can type a and then run. You can simply say that now the system accepts a as 12. And if you want to see what type it is, what you need to do is you can simply type print and then bracket open, and then press the key T and YPE and press A and see what type it is, and you can see the system has detected that a is an integer. Similarly, what you can do is you can type b equals to coding and c equals to 5.5, d equals to true, and run the code. The system accepts b as a coding, c as 5.5, d equals to true. And if you want to print the type of b, you will see that the system has recognized it as a string. If you would like to see for c, you can see that the system has taken c as a float value, just because that we have a decimal point here. And if you would press d here, you would see that the system has taken d as a boolean language. So what happens in Python is that the system automatically detects whether the integer is an integer, whether the variable is an integer or a string or a boolean. You just don't have to tell the system that what I'm trying to do here is that a will be taken as integer. You don't have to do that. The system will automatically detects the same. You can redeclare a variable as well. Suppose a was 12, and if I want to say that no, a is not 12, a is 12 now, which is in string. So what's gonna happen is that you have made a string now. So if you want to type a, bracket open, a, and now you'll see that a has become a string. Earlier it was an integer and now it's a string. So you don't have to, you have that leverage where you can simply redeclare a variable. And if you want to declare a function in Python, what you can do is you can write def, which is basically defining a function, and then the name of the function. So suppose if I want to write, so my function will print something. So print smth, bracket open, bracket close. We'll do a colon here and then write print I have made a function. And is missing here. Sorry. So the moment you do this, now you have a print something print something function in the system. And if you want to use this function, what you have to do is you can write print bracket open bracket close. The moment you run this, you'll see the print statement which you have written in the function, and now the system prints the same. So there are three functions basically. The first function which returns a value, and there's a second function which accepts a value, and of course if you want to make it return something, that is up to you. And there's a third type of function which won't return a value, neither it will receive a value. So for basics, what we'll do is we'll cover these functions only. And I'd like to give you another example. So suppose if you want to make a function which will add something, right? So what you can do, add something, we'll write add something, we'll bracket open colon, and we'll do print 12 plus 5, and then we'll register this, and then we'll write add bracket open bracket close. You'll see that 17 is here, which is 12 plus 5. So this is how you make simple functions in Python. And variables is something that we have already covered. So what we'll do is we'll try to make another example out of functions wherein we can use these variables and then use a function to display something. So suppose if I make a function, or rather I'll declare something first, and I'll say hi, and then a j will become coders, and then I'll register the variables, and then write a function called con bracket open bracket close, and then print p space, I'll put a plus sign here, which basically right now will act as a concatenate. We'll do another plus here, and then write j, and then we'll register this function as well, and then we'll try to run it, and let's see what happens. We have hi coders, which is basically what we have done is we have concatenated p and j. So this is how you make simple functions in Python. You can use variables, you can use without them as well. Totally depends upon what you're trying to program. And if you want to, so moving forward with loops or if, what should we cover? We should cover if now, I guess. So if is very simple in Python. What you need to do is, what you have on the keyboard is if, which is basically if a equals to 12, then. So in Python you don't write then, you just do a colon, then press enter, write print yes it is, and let's see what happens if we run this code. And it says yes it is, and the only reason it says so is just because we just declared a as 12 in string, so we already have that registered in the system, and it says yes it is. So this is how you use a simple if in Python. If you want to use if else, what you can do is you can write if then a equals to, which means yes, I want to check whether a is the value that you want to state, suppose 13, and if it is 13, of course, which is not the case here, I'll type yes it is. Now if you want to use else, what you can do is you can then press another enter, and then write else, and then a colon again, print a bat smiley. Okay, let's see what happens here. Now there are double quotes. Yes, and see, it's a bad smiley because we know that a is 12. And when it comes to writing basic loops in Python, what you can do is you can write. So there are many loops in Python, but for this video what we'll be covering is a simple basic loop, which is a for loop, and we can start the same by pressing FOR on the keyboard, and then of course you have to state a variable again which would act as a counter. Let's go with L, and then we have to state the ranges. So in, if we want to type from 0 to 10, which is basically a simple counting that we'll be doing, and we'll print L here and see what the result is. We have 0 and 10. Why? Just because we have something missing here. And now it'll go from 0 to 9. Okay.